It's Thursday, the 23rd of January, 2025. I did some videoing yesterday. Yesterday was not a good day. It was a very bad, horrible, no good day. So while I warm up the tractor and get the cows another bale and unwrap it while the tractor warms up, have a look at what I filmed yesterday. And if you like the content on our channel, please consider giving this video and our other videos a like, and share the videos, and subscribe to the channel if you would. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it gets you notification when we post videos, and it helps us grow our channel so that others can see the kind of mayhem we create here on the farm. Watch for icicles. I gotta pull off those Christmas lights sometime here. I am going to let the glow plugs run its course this morning, because all in all it's still
beautiful
only
Spanish red tiles. They're taken.
12 degrees out. Turn that off so I'm not drinking. Okay, that works. All right, I'm gonna unwrap the bale and get these cows fed. Today has not been a good day on the farm. Been largely problems of our own creation and bitter cold weather. Today, by temperature metrics, was warmer than yesterday when I did the milking video. However, this morning, the cold gave us nothing but problems. It's now 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm busy fixing a lot of those problems. I just was passing by the boiler because the ladder I need is in here. And yes, I know there's a hole in the roof, but that was due to a massive windstorm a month ago that took this shed. I wasn't finished building it. The doors weren't done. Took the shed and lifted it off of the boiler and the smokestack and crashed it up behind the house. Yeah, it was about 300 feet up the way, just from the wind. So I quickly got it put back together again, but I got to do some sheet metal bending that the temperature just hasn't been friendly towards. Anyway, I was just passing by the boiler, and yet another problem today. The boiler has lost 60 degrees since I loaded it up 40 minutes ago. I think I'll get it going. It had almost burned out because of all the problems. I wasn't paying attention to it. So I've reloaded it with wood, and maybe the volume of cold wood also helped bring down the temperature a lot. Anyway, I'm gonna monitor that, make sure that's going. The main problems today were cold related because, and it didn't start out that bad, actually. Yeah, I had frozen hands. Now we got to the final cohort, the fifth cohort, and the vacuum pump stopped. And we couldn't figure out what was going on. Turns out a breaker had tripped, but that meant that the boiler wasn't running, and that's a dangerous situation. So I had to get a backup generator going, battery pack generator going for the boiler to keep the fan and the pump circulating. Had to then figure out, it took about 10 minutes to figure out that it was the breaker in the house, not the barn, that had tripped the main power feed breaker. Then we had, in that little bit of time, there was no power to the milking parlor. The vacuum line froze. Now it's only a 1-inch line to a very small temporary pump, because where I'm standing now outside the back of the barn is where the true milking parlor goes, and the pump for that hasn't been installed yet. I'm gonna have to install it temporarily in the barn and run a line out. The reason the heat hut is here, the wood boiler, is because I moved it off of the side of the old temporary parlor in the fall, because that temporary parlor was supposed to get turned 90 degrees and slid up against the end of the barn, which, yeah, I know there's a hole there. It's get prepared. It's non-structural. That was going to get moved up there, and concrete was going to get poured in November. Well, did that happen? No. But I did get this started moved, but then we had a spate of really bad weather. It set in, so this didn't get put in until December, I think, was when we finally got operational. Now, all that being said, the heat hut used to help keep the parlor warm, so we didn't have the freeze up issues there. We also don't normally get, it's been 3 or 4 years since we've had this bitterly cold temperature. So we were caught with the vacuum line freezing. The big pump goes here, the parlor goes here. So during milking, cohort 5, vacuum line froze, had nothing but problems. Couldn't find the heat gun that usually helps thaw the freeze, the 2 pinch points where the pipe freezes. Couldn't find that. We had to use a hair dryer, which it got some of the ice melted enough to get kind of half vacuum. So we can only milk 1 teat at a time on the final 2 cows. Took forever. Our hands were freezing. It was about 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Finally, then it quit. So Allison had to milk by hand the final teat of bramble. So that was a pain. Got that done. Made sure that milk was clean. Yeah, it was great. Got it. Went to put it in the bulk tank. Realized the bulk tank was agitating, but I couldn't hear the compressor. Now, because of the late fall and the warm weather and the not frigid weather until now, I didn't put up the shrouding on the compressor to the bulk tank, and we think that it froze last night. It wasn't being kept warm. I actually didn't do it last year because we had it was very wet last year, milder winter. So that's on me. That pump wasn't working. What else? No, the last night Allison made cheese. The drain for the whey wasn't working. So I got to fix that today because she's making cheese today because it's Wednesday, and using the milk up that, fortunately, this quit overnight. The milk was at temperature this morning, so we didn't think anything of it in the bulk tank until we added today's milk and then realized, oh, the cooler isn't working. We better just go ahead and make cheese earlier. So she quickly left the milking parlor. I did everything else, and she started making cheese. So I got to fix this. I got to try and come up with a solution to get the compressor running again. I solved the heat hut. So I had to fix the heat gun. It was a broken wire in the plug. So I got that going, got the ice melted out of the vacuum line in the temporary parlor. Now I've got a little space heater in there to make sure that gets out of there. The problem is the warm milk makes vapor. The vapor gets sucked up into the vacuum line and condenses and freezes. And that's all it was to it. And because it's a 1-inch line, it freezes quicker. And a proper vacuum pump, the right size vacuum pump, the one that we own that we need to install, will suck all that vapor up. It'll dry the lines because they're 2-inch lines, bigger pump, and then the water vapor falls down and drains out of the extra buffers tank. And that isn't a problem. And also you're supposed to have that bigger pump in a heated room. So I have to build the room in the barn and install the heating circuit from the wood boiler to keep it warm over winter. So that's got to happen, which is why it isn't installed right now. And I was waiting to try and get a start on this milking parlor. So got that thought out. Space heater's in there now. I'm going to move the space heater into this compressor on a thermostat after I get some shrouding put up. That's going to be solved. So then I got to rewire or try and work on the whey pump to see if I can get that done before Allison needs it at the end of cheese making. So that's got to happen. So today has been bitterly cold. It is viciously cold right now. So that has been today. But right now, 3 foot square. Right? Yeah, all right. I need a piece. I've used 2-inch foam, like this foam here that's fallen off the concrete wall, and I need to reattach. That happened, I don't know, a couple months ago. It's been too cold to do. So 3x3, and if I do a 3x, so I used to use pink foam and big washers to attach it with lag, timber screws. All right, 38. Remember that number, 38 by 30 by 51. 38 by 30 by 51. Okay, those numbers in a 3-foot square. But the foam, it breaks down in the sun, it breaks down in the wind, and this is a very windy corner, and it was always popping off. So I'm going to use a different insulation board. I don't know. They put it on roofs. It's only 3/4 of an inch thick. It probably doesn't have much R value, but it's going to keep like the snow and stuff here from blowing in here. And I can put a space heater in there on a thermostat set very low, just above freezing. Yeah, we're going to burn a little bit of electricity, but it's better to have the compressor run. And hopefully it's not damaged. That's the other thing. Last time this happened, I think we had to have someone come out and work on it. That's expensive. So I'm going to get this set up, get the heater on a thermostat in there, and see whether that works. The rest of this week, I think tomorrow it's going to be like up in the 20s, mid to upper 20s. And then Friday it's going to be 30 something. Saturday and Sunday it's going to be well above freezing, 35, 36. So I think, fingers crossed, frozen fingers crossed, we are hopefully climbing out of the deep cold, at least for a short while. February typically is our coldest month, but that's been a few years since that's happened. So I think this is our coldest month. All right, so we're gaining on the thermostat on the wood boiler. I'm going to go cut those pieces of board and find some screws and get this thing set up. And then that should be, I still got to fix the vat. I still got to fix or look to see if I can fix the sump pump that we use to drain the whey down to the whey system. Okay, I've gotten some power rigged up coming from the heat hut, and I've got what is affectionately known as what is colloquially known as a milk house heater. So technically we're in the realm. It's a little heater that has a thermostat that will turn off when it gets the right temperature. In this case, as hot as possible. And it also has a tip sensor. So if it falls over or something bumps it, it will turn off. So they're pretty good units. Use them a lot. In fact, there was a different one in here, but because it was snowed on, I decided not to try to use it. I have cut my insulation board stuff, so the idea is hopefully having the milk house heater in here will warm this up enough, thaw things up here in the next 4 or 5 hours. We'll give it a shot tonight, and then if this runs, this generates heat. As it cools the milk, this will generate heat. This will heat this space. This insulation board should help keep the heat in, and also keep the wind off of it, and also any kind of more snow or anything. And so it should work better as long as it doesn't need professionally serviced. So hopefully I'm going to screw up the last panel. It goes right here, and then we'll just let that heater do the thing. All right, there we go. We've got the board up. That gives us a little bit of insulation. It's not tight to anything, so there's also a little ventilation. I can't imagine it getting too hot in there. So we're going to give that a while and just see if that has any effect on whether we can get that compressor to come on. That's a very temporary emergency solution to a problem. So I'm not going to leave it like that, and I'm not happy about what I got there, but given how cold it is and the time of day, sun's starting to go down, so it's going to start getting even colder. So I wanted to get that going. Now, the last thing on my list right now, lunch is hot on my list, but I don't know when I'm going to get to it. Boiler's coming up to temperature, so that's good. Got that going. So the last thing I got to do is check out the whey pump and see if I can get that running in any capacity. So I'm in the barn trying to repair the whey pump. It's just a regular sump pump, but this is stainless steel, so much more expensive. And it pumps through the tubes and down into the container. And the complaint was last night that it quit running, and I think I know why. Look at all these breaks in the whole cord. Apparently whey eats the cord. It had mini breaks in here. And the other problem has been that the cord was too long for Allison. So some of this was tied up with a cable tie. So I am, rather than just testing it right with this cord with all these breaks in here, I think that's going to fail. So I've cut the cord shorter to a good section. I've cut it off of the machine, and I am now going to wire nut the wires together just to see if I can get it running. If I can do that, then I'll come up with a better solution. I've never had great luck taking the covers off of these and getting them back to where they work, so I'm loath to try and rewire it inside, but I will come up with some waterproof way to make this work for her for tonight, and then we'll go forward. We'll fix it more permanently, but I know I need the parts to fix it permanently, but I can get this going tonight if I can, if it works, if this was the problem. All right, so I wire nutted temporarily things together, and there's power now. I'm gonna tape that all up, but the motor doesn't turn, so I think it's jammed or stuck. I know from a previous wave pump, it gunges up, so maybe that's all it is. Check it out. I'm really sorry I'm not videoing any of my repairs today. It is just that cold, and I am trying to get these things done, and it is now going on 4 o'clock, and I'd like to have lunch, and Allison needs this pump by the end of the day, so I may, well, all right, she can dump it down the drain, but it's not preferable. We'd rather have it for the pigs in the pig storage, in the way storage for the pigs, so we can feed it out later, going for her. It makes her day easier. Okay, so see that gunge? That may have something to do with the fact that this isn't working. I'm gonna investigate further. All right, it wasn't the gunge. My sense is that the bearing is shot, and the shaft that goes to the impeller, and it's just binding up. It spins freely by hand, and with it plugged in, I can get it spinning, but it starts squealing and then it shuts off and stops spinning. So my guess is the bearing is shot. So, new pump. Heard that pump in May of 2018. So that is pretty good. What's that, 6 years? 7 years? What you doing there, Mims? It's Laura. So Mimsy was cold first thing in the morning. She's our youngest calf, and she was born premature, and she just hasn't sprouted up yet. So we just decided to give her that little bit of extra warmth, and normally jerseys run small, and normally the calf jackets that we use on calves wouldn't fit what's she now, a 6-month-old calf? But because she is on the petite side, shall we say, we had bought the largest calf coat that they made, just in case, because we have crossed some of the jerseys to Angus's, and those calves tend to be a little bit on the bigger side and they grow faster. So just to cover all bases, we bought a full-size, large Holstein jacket. And it turned out it was a good decision, because we were able to put it on Mims, and she's just cozy and snug as a bug, and makes us feel a little bit more comfortable having her out here in these temperatures. They pack into these huts, and they're very cozy at night. It was just during the day, and if we'd had any wind, we just want to make sure that she's converting all her feed into growth and not having a fight staying warm. How you doing, Joy? What? Oh, you're being a teenager. Very neat. Well, it's about 8 o'clock, and I'm out here doing night chores. First round of night chores. Just gonna bring a couple buckets of water to the calves. I've checked on the cows. I've restocked the boiler. I fed the calves, made sure they were good for the night. And then just before bedtime, I come out one more time, check the boiler, and check the cows, especially the closer they get to calving. Allison's in the creamery making cheese. And my phone died earlier while I was doing the other recording. Oh, nuts. These taps sometimes freeze at night. We don't know if the milk tank works. We'll find that out in the morning. I guess that's it for today. Well, my plan to delay feeding the cows until today has worked well because it is warmer today and we're going to now warm up through the weekend. So this bale here, which is second cut silage, should last them through Saturday afternoon, and then I'll have to move the ring, put them in the barn, and go fish out more bales, but it'll be warmer Saturday afternoon, Sunday to do that, rather than fighting single-digit temperatures. I accidentally cut open the calf's bale. This, I don't know if you can see the color difference. This is hay that I wrapped because we don't have a barn for dry storage, and it's actually kept the hay really nice this year. And then this is second cut silage. So I made a mistake and cut that bale open first instead of the one I needed, but we're not expecting any precipitation for a few days, and it's going to be at or below freezing, so it should be fine until I need to feed them that. I'm going to go ahead and untwine this bale, and we'll get it brought down to the cows. Now, I know you've seen me going around the bales in previous videos, undoing the twine, and probably wonder why the heck I'm doing it that way. I do it that way. Now, I hate twine. It takes so long to undo the bale. I'd much rather have net wrap. It makes a tighter, better bale, and it's easier to come off of. But the twine, because it's the only way the baler's operating right now, I've done it where I've slit all the strands and pulled off, 4-foot chunks of twine, but inevitably I miss one, or two, or a whole bunch, and sometimes it can be cut right into the bale. And if I unravel it, as much of a pain as it is, make sure I get all of it, and that way the cows aren't eating a short strand that I've missed. All right, let's get this bale down to the cows. You also might be wondering why I keep the bales up here in the dooryard. I mean, they're stored down there at the barn by the cows, and the intention was to feed them out down there. But since I made the decision to use the hay ring in the middle of the lane, because it's a dry, flat spot to feed the cows, it means that I don't have a lot of maneuverability down there, especially for the tractor. I was not planning on using the tractor this winter to do this job, but I didn't realize this is the first winter. We got the tractor a year ago in February, coming right up, so I didn't have it to feed out a lot of last winter, and I just used the skid steer. Have to go pull the plastic wrap off. So I've been using the skid steer to feed out round bales for the last several years when we were buying them, and I've used it a few times this winter, but the tractor gives me that bit more reach. The skid steer isn't the kind with the extended boom. I wish I'd gotten that kind now that I know how useful it would be, maybe for the next go around in a few years. So the tractor gives me a few more feet of reach, and it means I can also grab higher. So in those cases where I need to get a bale up high and I can't get close to the bale, it's helpful. The reason I stored them up here in the dooryard is, like I said, maneuverability down there is marginal with this big beast, and so it was easier just to grab them and shuttle them up here. And also that way, if for some reason I couldn't get the tractor started or the weather was really bad, I'd at least have them up here and I could hand sled the hay down, the silage down the hill if I had to, or I could put forks on the skid steer, and it was just giving me options. I'm all about always having options if I can. Leave myself paths to make sure that the work is as easy as possible and everybody gets fed. let's get these cows fed. All right, that should last them until about Sunday. Saturday afternoon, Sunday. I'll pull more bales off the pile. And I have to move the ring and stack it right here so I can get the tractor by. All right, we're gonna go park the tractor, go in where it's warm, get a cup of coffee. Allison's off on deliveries to Portland and all points in between. So I won't see her, she's about to leave. I won't see her until dinner time tonight. I gotta come up with something to feed us. So once again, thanks for watching the videos, and we'll see you on the next one.
Up to temperature, that is what I like to see.